Good morning to all of our nominees. Congratulations on your nominations, and thank you for your willingness to continue to serve this country. Dr. Schmidt, Pease National Guard Base in New Hampshire, the 157th Air Refueling Wing, was the first National Guard base to get the KC-46 refueling tanker. That was in 2019. We received our first plane. We are still waiting for the new remote vision system to work in that tanker. As I understand, you will be the person who will continue to follow whether that remote vision system gets completed properly. Do you commit to staying on top of that and keeping this committee and me informed about what the progress is?
Yes, Senator, absolutely.
Thank you. Dr. Erickson, in New Hampshire, we have a regenerative center called Regen Valley in Manchester that's working on regenerative medicine and has gotten significant contributions from the Department of Defense. We also have at BAE a new microelectronics center that was designated as a semiconductor manufacturing facility by the Chips and Science Act. They received a significant grant. Can you talk about how you envision leveraging these kinds of tech hubs and the Chips and Science grant recipients to ensure that our investments in semiconductor manufacturing are done well and that we use the innovation that's happening there in a way that benefits our security?
Sure, Senator. Thank you for those questions. I just wanted to mention that it's because of the Pease Air Force Base that I actually ended up in aerospace engineering during a visit as a high school student.
Great.
So the CHIPS Act is, I must say thank you to the committee for invoking the CHIPS Act. It's understanding $52 billion is a critical investment and a critical enabler for us to be able to actually produce microchips in our United States regions. It's, from my understanding, we're investing something like $400 million over 5 years because we do recognize it will take time to build a lab-to-fab regional facilities. Microchip electronics are in everything that we utilize. And we saw during the pandemic that it was particularly impactful because we were not able to provide those resources from outside of our borders. And it was almost crippling to our economy. So, of course, I will commit to making sure that these things continue to grow. You mentioned one that I was not aware of in your state, but I look forward to working with that biotech partner and growing those capabilities, which are very important and critical to delivering to our warfighters.
Well, thank you. Secretary Dalton, I mentioned that the Pease 157th Air Refueling Wing received the first KC-46. Part of the reason that happened was because of the Air Force active association structure, which allows our National Guard members to work with active duty. During the pandemic, we lost virtually that entire active duty component. Fortunately, those folks are back, but can you speak to why that structure is critical and why it will be important to preserve that as we look going forward?
Senator Shaheen, thank you for the question. In my current role, I know how valuable the National Guard is for our national defense and how it can support a range of missions for the Department of Defense, working in lockstep oftentimes with our active duty forces. I've seen that even at the southwest border over the last year. With regards to the specific case you mentioned, while I'm not familiar with the particulars in my current status, if confirmed, I would certainly look forward to leveraging the attributes of both the National Guard and the active duty, how we can bring them together for total force integration to ensure we're leveraging the comparative advantages across the force as we move forward on modernization.
Well, I hope we will continue where those that collaboration is working well, as it is in the 157th, that we will continue that force structure in a way that allows those units to continue to operate. And I hope that you will look at that very closely and ensure that that happens. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, Senator.